Okay, this is a deck profile for my Coral deck. I was considering doing this or not, like I wasn't too sure, but I came first in locals today, and went 4-0, so it's probably good enough to show over the deck. Hope more people see the deck go off. So here we go. Alright. So here's the deck for you. Alright, starter is Coral. I need Coral to get Coral name, get your Coral stuff going, blah blah blah. For Aurora Star Coral, the crit for game card, you use this card just to crit. It gives all your Corals crits. If you soul bust 4, it's really easy in this format to do it right now. So use that. At CB1, soul bust 2 to bounce a Coral unit or 2 units. If one has Coral, it gets 15k. You can bounce Coral all the time. Sick part of the skill is that even if you have no hand, you can still do your combo, so you can be a little more lenient on your guards. 1 Ange. Now, why we play Ange is sometimes you can't FDK or get your kill with Coral on your first grade free turn, and sometimes you just don't have enough resources or your combo's not good. So it's kind of like a 5th ride target. Now, what she does is, like, you bounce 4, you're going to bounce 4 for CB1. Like, if you're not bouncing 4, you're not doing it right. You get 10k, a force marker, and you search your deck for a grade 2. Now, you can use this to multi-attack, and it also refunds your costs. So, when you're, like, when you're playing Coral, you rush. Like, you play pretty aggro, like, you commit cards, because you can usually recycle them if they blow them up with Coral. So, you just rush with Coral. And if you don't have your combo piece, you ride into Ange, and then you can bounce them back to your hand and hopefully live a turn, and then get multiple force markers for your Coral push. Grade 2s. One of Merida. This only came up once today, but what this actually does is it's CB1, draw a card, search your deck, top 7 for a grade 2 and ride it. You just play this for a draw 1 so you can survive, because you're going to be committing to board. Enough to say. It rarely comes up, but it is useful. For Lizalot, staple card, core card. You play 4 of this. It's powerful as hell. Sometimes it puts RNG a bit down. If you are going to go into Ange, make sure if you accidentally get crit, put it behind Ange, because Ange can't bounce trigger units. 4 of Leah, an OP grade 2 that Coral got in the last set. This card is nuts. You want to put it behind Aurora Star because it's 10k, so 28, 10, 38 with a crit. It can cycle through. It's soul charge free. If it's Coral, you get to draw. It recycles itself, so you can rush really easily just by placing it CB, get a Coral draw, and then go 10, 10, like 20 or whatever. It's very aggro late game. It gives you giant boosters. Very good. Out of order. For Shiny Star Coral, main attacker. You don't need a Coral name to get the 15k, you get 10k. So it's a 10k beater when you're going into Ange. So you can beat with this, go into Lizalot on the Ange turn, and then get like 4 attacks going, or 5 attacks. And your attacks never run. It also fuels a grade 1 later that gets 10k, so this is your finisher. With the new card, it gets boost, so it's also a 25k boost. 2 of this bugger. Feeling. CB1, you have to guard with 2 cards from hand if it's if you have a Vanguard with Coral. If their hand is pretty big, this will destroy them. It stops PG, so like when you're swinging for like 50k or 40k, they have to guard with 2. It really annoys them. You can just end games just by pulling this card. And you can sort of cycle free deck, so you don't need too many of it to actually get it. Grade 1s. We have the new grade 1, which is Elsa. She's another ride target. Top 5 for Coral. You ride this. If you need to cycle for your grade 2 Coral, you can use this to turbo into it. It's very strong at doing that. Like, it's just free advantage. You can just bounce it afterwards. It will whiff sometimes. That's just how the deck goes. Uh, free Perumi. 18k booster. 18k attacker. When you Soul Blast 2, you're gonna Soul Blast like 6 easy. You Soul Charge so much with the new grade 2 that you're just gonna hit it. If you call this up, what's up? 18k. 18k booster on 18k attacker on Orange. That's on a force marker. 28. Great numbers. One of a card I never played. The theory behind this promo that you get at pre-releases is that you can, since you're Soul Blasting so much, if you put it free, you can recycle it, so it's just a free use. Didn't come up. If I was going to replace it with something, it would be Sedna. This card's just a great booster, and it searches for a grade 3 if you're desperate for Orange for some reason, but usually you get so much stuff. It's literally a 13k beat stick. For Fresh Dark Coral. I like to use this as like an emergency soul charge if you need soul or you need to cycle to try and find it before going with Aurora Star skill. Use this is kind of a backup. It's an okay ride target. I think the other one's better just because that one searches for top 7. This one just gives you an extra card. Card cycle and soul, but it's a 13k. Sometimes you can just actually attack it, get a good booster, and then it will do the work for you. And the trigger lineup is just the standard 4 draw, 4 heal, and 8 crit. Okay, here's an example of why the Grid 2 game at Coral is so nasty and why it kind of really makes the crit spam really nasty and why Orange is kind of a good backup. So once you hit grade 2, like, the grade 1 still has the Lizard combo. That combo's nuts. You can just call stuff, blah, 10, 10, 8, lots of pressure. So, but once you reach grade 2, you have so many options. It's ridiculous. Like, it's really hard to actually pick, like, but they're all kind of good. So, there's the standard Lizard ride, which is like, blah, whatever. There's also just the Coral ride, which is Soul Charge 2. You don't get the power, but since you have a Coral aim, if you have Counterblast, you can do this to force on the guard 2, which is really annoying when you're hitting for 10, so it's like 10-2 pass, 10-2 pass, 10-2 pass, because it doesn't specify Coral. You just need a Coral Vanguard. So, making them guard 2 from hand, you can push them to free super easy, just to blast them out with Coral. The other option, the other thing you can do is, since you have Coral Vanguard, you can also give this to turn them into boosters. So if you have enough hand, when you ride this, you can actually just make all your 10Ks into boosters and just go ham. The other cool thing you can do is, instead of riding this, you ride into something like Lizalot and then call. But then you use this to Soul Blast 2 to get 10k. And then this becomes an 18k. So you got like 20, 10, 21, nasty numbers. You can't use this because you need the Coral Vanguard, but it can be very good. You can't use this either, but you get these really big beta turns. The other cool thing you can do is ride this, because it's CB1, Soul Charge free, and then if one has Coral, you just draw a free card, so you got a card in your grade 2. And then from there, like, even if you, like, from there, once you've got a board committed, it doesn't matter how jank the board is. If they blow it up, Coral, recycle it. If they just leave the board and you just need to get it all back and you don't have a combo, that, back to hand after attack, and then call a Lizard and do the combo, and you're set for your Coral turn. So because of this combo, like, because all the grade 2s are just so nasty, you can always consistently push for, like, this kind of turn where you have crits, you have multi-attack, and lots of force spam, and they can't let you hit because they're going to be in high damage. It's quite strong. So I recommend you give this a try. It's not expensive because of the reboot. This stuff's probably cheap, and Coral's still not expensive, and the decks, like, outside of this card, like, it's not that expensive for the most part. So I actually highly recommend this deck, even just for a casual. And yeah, that's about it.